Hi, I'm Prash Engine-Earz Mistry. I'm a mix, mastering engineer and producer. One of my proudest mix and mastering projects that I've been involved in the last year and a bit is the Georgia Smith, I say project, but she's just an incredible artist that I've been very blessed to be working with, from Blue Lights initially and then all the way through to where we are now. So I've been really proud to kind of work with her and find a sonic identity through all the music she's released, and we've really built the sound together so you can really feel the narrative growing for her. I think I've really enjoyed working with some of these very contemporary British artists that have brought influence from loads of my favourite types of music over the years and just mashed them all together and been very successful about telling their stories without having to compromise on their art form in any way. Having grown up as a producer and an artist of sorts, I'm very aware of the effects of mixing and mastering on a project. But the first and main thing is the quality of the song. You know, a mix and a master can't save a song that doesn't connect with its audience. The main thing is to have that at its core. Once you've got the song, then, my job as a mix or mastering engineer is to emphasise, exaggerate the emotional connectivity of that piece of music so that it works with the most amount of listeners and on the most playback systems. The mix is, in a sense, a way of solidifying the sonics and, again, the narrative in the music, so that whatever the groove's meant to be, or whatever the chord changes, or whatever the artist's meant to be saying is never masked by any other sound in there, and everything pushes towards one bigger picture. And the mastering is really just to make sure that that energy is captured and reproduced properly across all playback medium. If a track isn't mastered or mixed properly, when you hear your music next to a track that has been properly delivered and technically delivered, your song just won't live up to the potential that it had. You know, and I think that's something that's being understood more and more as more independent artists come to the fore by themselves without major label backing. You know, this technical side of the industry is becoming even more important to help those artists realise their visions for their music. So a pre-master will often come in with a lot more bass than it needs, because typically bedroom producers and often just creatives in general don't have the budget or time to build a room that's perfectly balanced. You know, and also the playback speakers, like the monitors I have, the ATC 100s, the resolution is second to none. You can hear things that you would never normally hear on a normal hi-fi or small pair of monitors, you know. And also the conversion, so these DAD converters down here, the Denmark Audios, they show you things in the sound that you wouldn't normally hear off a smaller converter, like say a universal audio converter, you know. And these are amazing things for the creative process. But when it comes to unifying that sound and making sure that it works from everywhere from a mobile phone to the other stage at Glastonbury, then you need to be able to hear it on a big system and make sure that everything is balanced correctly. One of the biggest problems with unmastered music is that the vocal can often become buried. And that's also part of the mix, as well as making sure the vocal has the space to breathe and that the story of the song doesn't get lost. And in a master, we're really paying attention to the focus of that song and making sure that it's allowed to breathe and it's given the space it deserves. When I was getting into mixing originally, when I was a young, still hairy youth of 13, we didn't really have many resources around us. It was primarily books and just really trial and error. What that gave us was a really distinct sound, and the limitations we had shaped how we would solve problems around us. Now there are resources everywhere. You can type into YouTube how to mix and probably 1,000 videos will come up. There are loads of subscription courses you can join with the best mix engineers. Mix with the Masters is quite a good one, Pure Mix another one. You can literally log on and watch a Daft Punk song being mixed by the mix engineer. These are great resources, but really the best thing to do is just to get in on your setup with your workstation, whether it's Cubase, Logic, Ableton, whatever it is, and just get stuck in. Make sure you reference lots of your favourite music, things that you really love, and eventually you'll start noticing things in those tracks that they've done. Maybe it could be the vocal reverb, it could be the way they got their snare to punch, but you won't copy that, you'll interpret it, you'll take that information in, and then you'll find your own way of creating that. I think that the real danger in this industry is sounding the same as everyone else. You will get lost in the crowd, and I think finding your own sound comes from your personality and your interpretation of how you can reach your goal. That's an interesting one. In a way, there aren't really, because you have to find your own path. As a mixer, I'm constantly jumping off my high horse, oh, the best sound has to be this, and really focusing on what the energy of music is. And sometimes it's not the clearest, sometimes it is distortion. Obviously from a drum and bass background, we distort everything. Distortion is where the fun's at. So there aren't really do's and don'ts, but there are technical things that you can do to make sure your sound just reaches people in a better way. And that's where learning and studying really comes in. The main thing I'd suggest is whatever your lead instrument is, or your lead element is, whenever you're mixing everything else, make sure you're constantly listening back to that. Soloing an instrument, let's say you have a guitar and a vocal, if you just EQ your guitar without hearing the vocal, when you put them back together, it's not going to make any sense. You have to understand this is part of a bigger picture. And if you always work from that, you'll always have a good mix. Really just absolutely fall in love with every part of your art form. Just be completely besotted by what you do. For me, I'm obsessed with sound, and I love it and I live it every day. I wake up studying it and I go to sleep thinking about it, and I'm constantly on a quest to realise what I hear in my head out of my speakers. And I think that's really the quest for all producers and anyone in the sound industry, using the equipment to best convey what you really hear in your head.